Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Knatters Knits podcast. Hopefully, I've managed to do it. I'm still having a few technical difficulties, as you probably noticed last week. My name's Natalie. I'm known as Knatters Knits all over the internet. I'd like to thank you all for coming back again. It never ceases to amaze me that people keep coming back. And also to those of you who just subscribed, thank you so much. It's really nice to know that I've got somebody who's actually listening to my rantings and rumblings out there on the internet. What sort of a week have you had? How's it been? Well, this week, of course, has been Halloween. Today's the 1st of November 2015, and outside it's a very misty Sunday afternoon. It's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon here in the UK. It's been a mixed week, really, of weather. We've had some absolutely glorious days, but we've also had a few misty days as well. Now, last week I promised you that I would try and do some things that you'd like. I asked you for your input, and quite a few of you have said that you wanted to see a little bit of the area around me. So I'm going to try and put the photographs in at the end, but I'm not promising because my camera was on my phone and it was very misty yesterday. So I apologise in advance if those photos don't make it onto the end, but I will try and put them in either as I'm talking about the places or as I'm actually fitting it all together at the very end. So, what have I been doing knit-wise? Well, excuse me, I just have a drink in my sheepy mug. Excuse his bottom. Oh, just ordinary builder's tea in there. That's what we call just ordinary brown tea in the UK, builders. So, I suppose I'd better fess up first of all. Those of you who were on the VKN last night will know exactly. That's a virtual knit night run by FO and Di. Will know that I fessed up to something. I'm sorry, I'm a failure. I was knitting myself a hat out of my hand spun, and the colours, as you can see, are gorgeous. Yeah, can you see that very well? Let's take this bright light away a bit and see if it'll come back to normal. Anyway, so it was lovely. But as you will see, it didn't work out. So I decided what I would do with it was to see if I could felt it a little bit and see if that would help. It didn't. This is actually it felted. So I think what I'm going to do is, yesterday I bought some soft toy filling and I'm going to stuff it and make a cushion. I think a nice little round cushion would be quite nice. This is it felted, and it's amazingly soft. It's lovely, it smells nice, it's cosy, but it is definitely not a hat. So epic fail this week. So that's that one. Now I fessed up about that, I'll show you some of my more positive things. One of my favourite dyers is a lady called Countess Ablaze, and I love the colour combinations and the fibres that she combines together. And one of them was this colour. It was called Pond Scum, which is quite nice. So what I did was I spun it, I knitted it into a shawl, and then I added a fringe at the bottom. Now the colour of the fringe is quite similar to the colour of the shawl, although you can't tell that just here. It does pick out some. The fringe is actually a woolly knit ball of yarn that was sent to me as a sample, slightly tweedy in effect, which goes quite well with this shawl. So this one is like that. You could wear it behind, I suppose, like that, as a little shrug, or just generally as a shawl. So it's lovely and soft, but I've decided that this one is going to go onto Etsy, and I will sell that on Etsy. So that's that one. Let's pop that back up there for a minute. And there, it's not going to stay. Okay, the next thing I made this week has been Do you remember those highlighter balls I showed you? Sort of this colour and this colour, all very bright. Well, it's not a finished object, it's a half finished object. There we go, one sock. It's a bed sock, ladies size 4 to 5. Don't know if the colours come up any brighter there. If you look on my Instagram feed, you'll see the colours are much better, but they are very, very bright. So that's the first one done, and it does fit me, so I know that's that much. And last night, just before I went to bed, or should I say this morning, I started on sock number 2. Yeah, they're not going to match, but that's fine by me. Yeah, what do you do with balls of yarn that are so bright? At least I won't lose them in the bed, would I? So that's that one. And the other things I've been doing this week, well, I'm doing a lot of thinking again. I'm trying to get myself ready to go back to work because I've decided that I think I'm less stressed now and ready to go back. So I've been doing a little bit of planning. Here we are, it's down here. Pop these down there a minute. So I've got a design book, which is this one here. It's Knitwear Design Workshop, a comprehensive guide to hand knits by Shirley Paden, or Padden, I'm not sure how you pronounce that, sorry Shirley. And I've started to work through to try and be more systematic about the way I design things, because the things I've done so far, it's been a case of I'll knit it, see how it goes, and see if it turns out okay. If it does, I write it into a pattern. And I've had so many ideas buzzing around my head that I thought I would try this way instead. So she gives you photocopiable ideas and designs and things in the book, and just without giving too much away, show you what I've been designing. And for the first time in my life ever, I've actually been knitting swatches as well. So only tiny ones, but they're not gauge swatches, these are just to see how with the yarn I was thinking of designing with, exactly what the pattern would look like and what I wanted to do. If you can see that now, it needs ironing really. Anywho, that's great, and I've done that little bit so far. And then I realised that of course this is quite flimsy and it's not really going to last very well. So I decided to buy myself some books. I went to Hobbycraft and they've got these scrapbooking books with a, I don't know what even you call this, but anyway, books like this. So you can actually put your designs and things in, and because it's got a tie cover, just like this, it means that I'll be able to put my samples in as well, you know, my knitted bits, and keep them in these. So I've got a couple of those. I'll put that one on there for now. So that's the plan for the rest of the day, is to partly work on those. I've got to make tea, and I'm also making some surprises for the retreat I'm going to in February, and you'll hear more about that as time goes on. So that's what I've been up to. In the post, I've had quite a few things. Now I don't normally spend as much money as this, but the last couple of weeks with being home, I suppose I've been a bit bored. I'm thinking, oh, if I had this I could do that, if I could have this I could do that. So one of the things I did was to take out a membership of John Arbon Mills and Fibre Harvest over in Devon, because I bought, if you remember, I bought that red fibre from them and also the white yarn that I showed you last time, and my membership came. So there we go. Pictures of sheep. Now, came with it was a spin package, and in the spin package was this lovely bag, Arbon Textiles again, and inside the bag I have got which is 200 grams, sorry about the crinkling, of 100% organically farmed merino. It doesn't say where the merino is sourced from, so I don't know whether it's UK or not. That's that. Also came a little card with a couple of pin badges on, which I can't seem to lay my hands on at the moment, and I'm really cross with myself for that. And also this. Yes, it's just an ordinary stitch gauge, but it's made of metal, so it's quite robust. And it serves as my membership card as well, because on the back it's got my membership number. So that's really cool. The square that I talked about for gauge hasn't arrived yet, but then I didn't expect it to because it's coming from America or Canada. So it's going to be a little while coming. But the other thing that I did get in the post this week was a couple of bags that I'd ordered from Goth Heart Creations. Thanks, Ellie, hi! And that's this one. So it's got hedgehogs on it, and owls, and trees, toadstools, another owl there, really cute one. And that's just a small square one, but I love the fact that it's lined with this ribbon, makes it all shiny, and it's got a nice drawstring, which is great. And nestling in here are, secret surprise, Graham socks. So that's that one. And the second bag that Ellie sent is this one. Again, it's got her ribbon that she does on the top. This lining is all silky inside, which is really, really nice. And in there I've got the baby blanket, which I haven't touched this week. So again, nice drawstring bag. A lovely way to keep them. So I think that's about all the goodies I have to show you at the moment, which makes this a very short podcast. But I did promise you a little bit about the area that I live. So if you don't want to see anything like that, you can switch off now because the knitting's done. But if you do want to see it, then I'm just going to talk you through a little bit about the area here where I live, and tell you a little bit more about me in the process, I suppose. Right, excuse me, just one more drink after the sheepy. So, I live in North Lancashire. Lancashire is one of the old traditional counties of the UK. You probably remember, if you've done any history at all about England, about the War of the Roses, and that's the House of Lancaster and the House of York that used to fight. And there's still a bit of a jokey rivalry between the two counties even now. I was born in Yorkshire, which makes it a bit difficult because I've lived in Lancashire more than I've ever lived in Yorkshire. But the area that I live is rural, but about 20 miles that way, 20 miles that way is the city of Lancaster. That's Lancaster, Lancashire in the United Kingdom. And that way is the city of Preston. So I'm stuck between two cities in a rural area. And it is gorgeous here, it really is, because I think I have the best of all worlds. I've got the cities if I want them, and they're not very far away. But I've also got the nice quiet isolation of a rural area. So, Lancaster itself I'll tell you about first, because I spent more time there than I have in the Preston area. It's got a castle, so all of those of you who've got romantic ideas about the UK, yes, there is a big old-fashioned castle. It used to be a prison, but it's just been returned back to the Queen, who owns it. She's the Duke of Lancaster. That's one of her titles. And it was a prison for many years, so it's in a state of refurbishment at the moment, but it does tower above the city. Other landmarks in the area are the River Loon, which used to see a lot of trade coming up and down the river from America, and also there is a park called Williamson's Park, which is on the other side of the city. Lancaster's only a city because it has a cathedral. It's a Roman Catholic cathedral, In its size, it's more of a big market town, really, but it is called a city because of the cathedral. Williamson's Park was, well, the monument in Williamson's Park was made by a local landowner back during the Depression when there was no employment in the area. So he decided that they would build something to give the local men some work and therefore keep everything going, keep everybody eating and everything else. It's a beautiful, beautiful memorial. People get married there now. And if you climb up to the top, it's got the most stunning views of the city. You can see all the way out to sea. You can see to the lakes and the Lake District. It's absolutely glorious. It also has a butterfly house there. So you can go, the park's free, and you just go park and have a walk through the gorgeous grounds. And in the summer, the local theatre group, the Duke's Theatre Group, go and take over the park and put on performances there, and it's quite well known in the UK for that, where you don't just go and sit. The performance moves round the park bit by bit, and the audience moves with it. So that's quite a fascinating bit of interest. There's all sorts of other things in this area where I'm living at the moment. To that direction we have Pendle Hill and where the Pendle Witches were. Of course that's rather appropriate to talk about as it was Halloween last night. And there's an awful lot of history in this area. It's glorious countryside. There's Clitheroe Castle as well. Oh, it's just absolutely stunning. I can't tell you any more than that really without sounding, oh, I don't know how to put it, but I do love this area very, very much. It is a really lovely place to live. So what would you find if you came to visit me? Well, in the village that I live, there are quite a few houses, but they're all very mixed. We've got bungalows, detached houses, terraced houses. That was one of the pictures I took yesterday, and hopefully I'll put them at the end. If you ask anybody from the south of England about the north, they tend to say, oh, flat caps and terraced houses, mainly because people watch Coronation Street on the telly. And yes, we do have a fair share of those. One of the pictures I've taken is Longridge, which is another market town in that direction. And this is very much terraced houses and old houses, pubs and things in that small market town. But you only have to drive 5-10 minutes outside of that and you will see other things like the pub that I've taken a photograph of, which I think has got a date on it of either 1728 or 1742, and that's called Ye Horns Inn. So for any of you who think of England as being full of these little old pubs and character, this probably was one of those. It was probably very much a coaching inn where you stopped, stayed over and then moved on. It's a very, very old building, and there's lots of character there as well. And there's quite a few of those places around here. Some of them are such good quality they actually appear in the Michelin Star Guide, or the Great Pubs guides. We're very, very lucky for the amount of Michelin starred chefs we've got around here, a passion for local food and produce, which is really, really good. And actually talking produce takes me on to my next point really. What are the things that are popular around here? Well, we're famous for Lancashire cheese, Lancashire hot pot. Hot pot is a very deep dish like this, and it's made with potatoes and beef and onions and gravy. And my gran used to put a thin crust over the top and put that over for the last 20 minutes or so of cooking when she'd taken the tin foil off. And that's cooked slow and long, and it's really gorgeous. And I'm going to try and recreate that tonight for tea. We're also famous for chorley cakes, which are very rich butter pastry with fruit inside, and that's raisins or sultanas. I think it's raisins. So that's a chorley cake. Eccles cakes, which look a little bit similar but are smaller and fatter and are covered with sugar on the outside. There are, well, all the fresh food around here is really good. We have a lot of cheese making in the area. There are quite a few cheese manufacturers. There's one over in that direction that actually has a place you can go and visit, and gives you a guided tour of the place, and you can actually watch the cheese being made from this gallery. And there's another one in that direction. There's also a yogurt makers that are over in that direction as well. And of course, the thing that we were most known for throughout history was wool and cotton. Lancashire is very much a mill county. And I think probably that's where I get a little bit of it from, because my grandmother and my mother also worked in the mills. I think they worked in cotton mills. But there's also a really, really interesting museum called Helmshaw in the town of Helmshaw in Lancashire, which has a lot of the old equipment, and you can go and see, you can try out things, and it's well worth a day out just to go and have a look at that. Combine it with maybe go and have a look at the countryside too. So that's that really. I don't think I've got anything else to show you this week. I'll probably kick myself something silly afterwards. Excuse me. I'm going back to work tomorrow, which is a bit, but I'm sure it'll be fine. Tomorrow evening I'm off to my guild meeting, and I think I've allowed myself to be talked into becoming chairman of the guild. So that's going to be interesting. What have I done? Oh, what have I done? We'll see at the election tomorrow. See if I can squirm. No, I won't squirm out of it. If they want me to, I'll do it. And of course, the doll that I showed you last week will be entered into the competition for the things that were made out of the yarn that they gave us. So I don't expect to win any prizes with it, because it's not very good. But at least I've entered into the spirit of it. I've done a bit of dyeing, I've done a bit of spinning, and a bit of knitting with it. So I've entered into the spirit of it. That's the main thing. Right, so at 22.5 minutes, I think it's about time I finished prattling on. Thanks again ever so much for coming and seeing me. Do drop me a line. Come visit me on the Ravelry group. I can be found as Knatters Knits everywhere on the internet. Say hi if you see me anywhere. Next Saturday I will be at Longridge Civic Hall at the usual craft fair, and if there's anything that you'd be interested in buying, do come along to that. And I'm really now working towards making things for the 22nd of November, which is a big Christmas fair over in Fleetwood. So I shall leave it there. Thanks ever so much again for watching. Hi to everybody who's subscribed. Thank you very much indeed for coming, and I'll see you next time. Bye.